listening to the Wandering Womb podcast with Jess and Jaimi. Strong women, strong drinks, strong views, and strong language.
It's officially a new season.
It is, and you may have noticed that we tried to do as a filmed new season.
Oh, God, that was so annoying.
It was a lot, wasn't it?
It really was. I feel like we had underestimated the amount of technology required.
A lot of energy, a lot of time, a lot of
iPhones. Camera angles, I feel like, a lot of tech. Do you know what, actually, yeah, good podcasters, I feel like, they make it look easy. Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah, they do. Like, we were like, how many iPhones have we got in this house? How many old ones have we got? How many iPads have we got? How many can we record from?
It was hard.
It was really hard, and we just don't have time for that.
And we're also massive amateurs.
We are.
Anyway, so in true amateur style, we've gone back to recording whilst already half cut and on a shitty mic, sat on a balcony.
Yeah,
in a hotel.
We're using worse mics than we usually use.
Yeah, no.
Because
so
a few
true.
of you have been like, oh, no, it's corrupted. Because it had corrupted. Then we bought posh new mics and we don't know how to fucking use them. So now we're using headphone mics and we're using one microphone.
Yeah. I feel like we bought these gorgeous new mics, really highly reviewed, really great pieces of tech. And we are officially too stupid to make them work.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's nice to be back, though.
It is.
I love doing this with you.
Aw. I love doing it with you. We've had some really lovely messages whilst we've had a break. Just asking when we're going to be back, and lots of you have been telling us what you do whilst you listen to us. We've had people say that you do your exercises and go to the gym whilst you listen to us. Some of you say that you listen to us whilst you're at work.
Yeah, we had that message from the woman who edits photos.
Yeah, fashion photography.
And she'd listened to our entire podcast from start to finish while she was editing a new fashion... What do you call them? Like a fashion collection?
Piece?
I don't really know what you call them.
I don't know.
She was like, you know, it got me through all of those edits, and like, where's the next podcast? And I like, how do you respond and be like, yeah, I mean, we've been trying since January, but we're too fucking stupid.
We have also been very busy doing the item.
I know, I'm so excited about the item.
So for those of you who don't know, we've got a new awesome resource out from Victim Focus called the item, which is just, what's the word for like when there's letters that make...
An acronym.
An acronym, yeah. For the Indicative Trauma Impact Manual. We've sold over 1,000 copies already.
On pre-order.
We're still on pre-order. Whoop, whoop. It's not out for another 5 days yet.
Is it 5 days? I thought it was 7. 7 tomorrow, isn't it?
I don't know.
Wishing our fucking life away, Jaimi.
But yeah, we're really excited about that. So we've been busy. We've been working on that since the summer, haven't we?
Yeah, then we got into like, you know, the intense... I don't know if any of you have ever written anything up, but you get into this intense period of writing where you edit, you mess with it, then you change it, then you rewrite, then you move it around, and then you have to finalise it, then it has to go to print, and then in our case it went to peer review, and then we had like a ton of comments to work through and things that, you know, like great criticisms, weren't they?
Oh,
you know,
yeah, it was
like,
really helpful.
Yeah, but it meant that, you know, like one of the things that kept coming up in the peer review was alphabetisation wasn't accurate, and that it needed to be better, and, you know, we needed to do that. But yeah, no, we've been absolutely knackered, so glad to finally now be coming down a little bit, spending time together again that doesn't involve sitting in the office, eating snacks and killing ourselves until 3 in the morning, working on a document. I think we're both proud of Item. I wasn't really expecting talking about this whilst having had this many drinks, but like, I think we're both really, really proud of it, and I'm excited to see like what happens once it's released and like thousands of people, they receive their item.
Yeah, I'm excited.
It's a little bit scary.
Yeah, I'm really, really proud. I was very, very nervous writing it up, and then it went to peer review, and obviously we've had some absolute, I mean, the only way I can describe them really is legends, some absolute bloody legends review it for us and give us absolutely incredible feedback. And obviously having that from people who have written already brilliant publications on what we've written has just, it's made me excited for it again. And I think,
I get that.
You know, we've had Roger McFillan who has reviewed it, and he like, his comments have been just really encouraging and brilliant. We've had, you know, we've had Carol, we've had Harriet, and it is, it's been brilliant. And
it makes you, I think what peer review does is that it makes you realise, you know, like when you've been looking at a document for that long and you've been writing a book for that long, and then somebody else reads it and says, do you know what, this is fucking brilliant. Yeah. It means it's outside of your brain.
Yeah.
You know, like
that's
when you're,
so true.
like you're writing something thinking, yeah, I think this is really good, and then you send it off to peer review and you're like, because you don't know if someone's going to write back and go, what?
Do you realise that you've said? Do you realise that you've said this paragraph 12 times?
Yeah. You just don't know. You start not being able to see the wood for the trees.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true.
And obviously, this is, you know, you've written several very large resources, haven't you? Where you've edited them as well, and so have I. I've written several books and edited them before they've gone off to publication. And you do get to the point where you can't see the wood for the trees no more, and like, you hate that fucking piece of work, that you get to the point where you can't look at it no more.
Yeah.
The fucking sentences don't make sense.
Yeah, no, they don't. That's so true. And no other sentences make sense either.
No.
You try and read for fun outside of that and nothing makes sense because you've read so much.
Or you just sit there in the kitchen eating a sandwich and your brain goes, you didn't change that sentence in chapter 7.
Oh my god, yes. Yes, that happens to me.
It's so fucking bad. It takes over your life. Writing takes
does.
over your life. And like, unless you're a writer, like, it's just a horrible, it just takes over you.
It's a gift and a curse, I would say.
It is. I wouldn't change it, and I love that I ended up a writer. I think 9-year-old me would be extremely pleased that we ended up a writer, but it is hard work. It's a lot harder than it looks. But anyway, we finished, and like, it went off to print, and we're really pleased with it and everything. And now me and you have decided to go away and have a rest. We're sat on the balcony of a hotel overlooking literally like snow-capped mountains. You can't see right now because it's the middle of the night, and we've had a drink and we decided to do a podcast. It's pitch fucking black.
And in the foreground there's orange trees.
There's like an entire farm full of orange trees. I watched them this morning. I still can't figure out what they're doing, why they were setting fire to... There was like a fire in the middle.
I think it's like pesticides and stuff.
Right, you said that, but I saw them chopping down branches and burning them. So they were picking the oranges off them, and then they were burning the branches. And honestly, I know fuck all about this.
I don't know.
I know nothing about orange farming.
I feel like, full disclosure, there are also probably about 10 hotels in between our line of sight, between the orange trees and the mountains, of hotels that are being built.
Are they being built still?
Yeah, that one's just got floodlights. Look at that
one
one over there.
It's still being built.
Yeah, look, they're all still being built.
Yeah, you get a lot of that. And do you know what? Over all the years that me and you have travelled, and like years prior to us being together, it always makes me wonder, are they being built?
Or did
somebody start building them like 15 years ago and went, fucking hell, this is expensive, and just fucking left them?
Well, yeah.
They're just like skeletons of a building.
Yeah, exactly. You really wonder, don't you? Anyway, we should probably introduce our topic for this podcast.
We should introduce ourselves.
Well,
just realised we've started a new season and just babbled at people. People don't even know who we are. Although, in fairness...
I'm Hillary Clinton. I'm joking.
In fairness, if you're this deep into the seasons and you're just turning up, first of all, go back to the start. Second of all, how did you just like click into this far into this podcast? How?
Maybe.
You need to start from the start, start again, listen to all the shit, and come back to us when you're ready. You have to level up. There's levels.
You've got to grow with us. We've grown. We started this podcast about 2-3 years ago now.
Oh my god, I bet it's nearly 4.
No, 3.
I think we started it in lockdown.
It was after lockdown. Just after lockdown. Just after the first lockdown.
Are you sure it was after lockdown?
After the first... No, it was after the first lockdown.
I think it was at the end of the first lockdown.
It was after.
Was it?
And that's how I know.
And that's how, because she just mouthed something at me. Anyway, we should introduce ourselves. So, my name's Jess. I can't be asked with a full introduction. To be honest, if you're going to listen to full introduction, go back to the fucking start.
Jess is director of Victim Focus.
Oh, Lord.
And that she founded nearly 6 years ago.
6 years old
is
in, like,
the
2
author of several books and reports, 2 of which are one of which is a Sunday Times bestseller, the other of which would have been a Sunday Times bestseller, but she self-published it before the rights to her book was bought by an international publisher.
That's so true. I don't care about that, actually. I don't care that, like, one of them is Sunday Times bestseller and the other one isn't.
No, Why Women Wait for Everything did amazing.
It did, and it still does. Jaimi is the... What are you, a presenter? I don't know what to call us. What are we?
Hosts. I think we're hosts.
We are hosts, podcast
We're
hosts.
Co-hosts.
Do I get to brag about you now?
If you want to brag about
disclaimer,
me.
We're married.
Oh yeah, people might not know that we're married.
Yeah. Jaimi is the smartest, funniest woman I ever met in my life. And she is co-director of Victim Focus. We've been working together for years now, so it's about time that you were made co-director, so we sorted all of that out. So welcome to the world of being a director of a company. It's a fucking nightmare.
Just a bit.
Also, Jaimi is doing a PhD at the moment, which I'm super proud of. And I cannot wait for you to start sharing, your ideas and your findings and things. Jaimi's PhD is in politics, where she specialises in exploring the relationship between governments in power and policies and their approach to violence against women and girls, and that relationship to the impact and the outcomes in the criminal justice system for women and girls. Listen, I seen this thing on Twitter that was like, can your husband or wife explain your PhD? And like everybody underneath it was like, oh, my husband or wife doesn't even know what I'm doing for a PhD. And I was like, that is not me.
Oh, you're almost there then.
I'm getting that, but like I don't have the language that you have because it's your specialist discipline.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But yeah, no. So Jaimi's obviously, like, she's a co-author of ITIM, author of many different resources, and also, as some of you know, very talented musician, which she always like cringes at. See, always cringes when I say that. But yeah. Very proud.
Anyway. So we're starting this new series with a variety of topics that we have either partially covered or haven't covered at all. So this new one, we are doing this episode on internalized misogyny.
I don't even know, honestly, like, we've not even planned questions for this, mainly because we just came in from a bar and was like, let's do it. But also because I feel like me and you could talk on this.
I do.
Like, forever. No fucking prompts. Internalized misogyny is massive. Huge topic. Not well researched. Not well discussed, I think.
And not well received.
No, people do not like talking about it. Feminists don't like talking about
this.
So
please listen to this with an open mind. And I think that it might be good for us to start with something sort of around our expertise of how we work. So for those of you who don't know, Jess and I train police forces, local authorities, all sorts, and I think that we probably will both agree that actually internalised misogyny is some of our greatest barriers when we are delivering this training and delivering this research and you know, and doing some of this consultancy work. you know, whether that be in police, whether that be in HR or local authorities, really.
Yeah, I've got to agree with that. I mean, it's difficult and it's sad, but you're right. I mean, some of the biggest barriers we ever came across has been women who hate other women, hate themselves, and they project their own misogyny onto other women and girls, and they push those women down, they tear those women down, they'll destroy those women, you know, they mock those women, they victim blame those women.
Yeah, they do.
They sexualise women, they objectify women, they make comments about women's appearance.
Yeah, but in like a negative way.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Rather than like, it's not like that they want to shag them.
Out of it. Yeah,
it's that they are objectifying them in a way to cheapen them and such. But I think actually as well, the amount that we get of like, well, you know, my son can't even walk down the street anymore and you know, try and meet his wife, and it's like, why is your son trying to walk down the street and harass a woman until she becomes his wife? Think about it.
Can you imagine? Although I say this to you all the time about, you know, like men who like catcall or harass women in the street, where it's like, have you ever met a woman who where you like sat at dinner or you're having a few drinks and you go, so how did you both meet? And they're like, oh well, you know, I was walking down like Wells Street and he just started like yelling stuff at me and was like, get your tits out, and then he was like, can I have your number, love? And then I was like, oh my god, this is the man for me. And then we got married, and then we had babies, and now the babies catcall women as well.
I feel like if you want to walk down the street and say, oh, excuse me, I think you're really cool, please can I have your number, that's fine. But if she says no, leave her alone.
I know, like that's so okay. I understand the whole no means no thing. Obviously, in the world that we live in, no means no doesn't actually work. So it's like a nice concept, and everything doesn't really work in real life. But that would be an ideal scenario where no would mean no. So yes, you might have approached a woman and gone, you know, I think you're really attractive. You know, I noticed you from across the street. I wondered if you wanted to swap details, maybe go out for drinks sometime. You know, I really like whatever it is. And then if that woman says no, thank you, because let's be honest, most women are very polite in those situations because they're shitting themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you're in that situation and you're like, fuck. And you're sort of like almost apologetic to the man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, so sorry, I'm married. Like, oh, I'm not interested. Oh, sorry, thank you, but and it's like, you know,
it's hard enough as it is.
It is hard, isn't it?
Don't make it harder.
No, but like Jaimi was just saying, we've come across many women, especially, and we're going to do another podcast on this.
Mothers of sons.
Yes, I'm not going to get into this in a massive way because it needs to be another podcast. Mothers of sons are problematic.
Yeah.
End.
And like, but full disclosure, we are mothers of sons.
Yeah, we are.
And we work really hard to not
be mothers of sons.
Be No. But we, you know, I think we try really hard to make sure that we are making sure that we're not raising misogynistic, entitled boys, men.
It's the entitlement, because with internalised misogyny, there's this, sorry for the background noise if you can hear that, we are sat on a balcony above a town. We are definitely, like, as mothers of... Sorry, I don't want to get into this too much because I want to do a whole other podcast on this about mothers' sons. Let's go back to internalised misogyny. Let's just, like, be disciplined for once. Internalised misogyny is, in my opinion, we are groomed into it.
Yeah.
So misogyny in itself, you are mistaken if you believe it's men that are misogynists, just men, and that men are misogynistic, men are sexist, and that it impacts women. And really, you could do yourself a massive favour by broadening your understanding of misogyny and sexism to include the fact that women and girls are also groomed into those norms.
Yeah. I think that along with that as well is that you have the sort of women and girls, particularly girls, who are given almost kudos for being what a feminist analysis would perceive as misogynistic.
What you mean, like the whole I don't hang around with other girls, they're bitchy, that sort of thing. Like,
and all they care about is makeup. All they care about is this, and it's this. And actually, what they're describing is the sort of misogynistic attitude towards how women are perceived as like surface level. What's the word? Like shallow, yeah, like superficial, shallow, thick, like bimbo sort of, and that feeds into the misogynistic tropes of what a woman is. Yeah, but like those girls have been brought up like that as well. And then you said the whole, "Oh, I'm not like other girls." Or that's like red flag for misogyny. I'm not like other girls. Are you not? In what way? In what way are you not like other girls? Unless because they're fucking gay, like I was. I used to feel like I didn't fit in with.
What on earth is that?
What the fuck was that?
This is, see, now you're getting the authentic experience right now. Because if you're listening to us, you don't know what that noise is. We don't know what that noise is.
We should hold a competition on what you think that is.
What
we have
do you think that was?
Oh,
some new noises. I don't even know anymore. We're just... You're as baffled as we are. If you're listening to this and you're in the gym thinking, what in the fuck is that? So are we.
Oh dear.
At least you know that you're getting a real authentic... We don't edit no shit.
Yeah, we don't edit. We just record it and then upload it. But yeah, like I remember feeling like, I'm not like other girls. Like, I don't like playing with dolls, and I like climbing trees and all that shit. And like, but the other girls are groomed into it, and like I was raised by my mum who was a fucking, like, she's a tomboy.
Yeah.
And then also I'm gay.
I remember saying, and I remember believing, because you just jogged my memory a bit, I remember being like, I'm not like the other girls, I prefer boyfriends, like having all my friends were boys.
Yeah, most of my friends were boys.
And I was like, oh, the girls are so dramatic, they're always gossiping. Now, in fairness, I will say...
They were?
I was going to say, still hate gossip.
Yeah.
I hate it. As soon as, like, somebody's gossiping to me, my brain just checks the fuck out. I'm like, shut the fuck up. I don't care that this woman you're talking about had another baby. I don't care. And I just check out. But I do remember being like, oh, I'm not like the other girls because I don't do that and I don't do that. And like, I also remember going through high school and being like, because I never used to wear makeup ever, because firstly nobody taught me how to put it on. I didn't know what the fuck they were putting on their faces. But I was like, I definitely felt like I was like morally superior when, like, almost like as a teenager, like much younger, probably I would say like 12, 13, where I was like, well, I don't even need that. I almost like I'm not like that. I don't need to, fucking wear a load of foundation and like loads of makeup to go to school because I'm not like those girls. But the thing is, when your feminism is structural and systemic, you don't make it about individuals. So now I look at that situation and I don't think, oh, well, I was better than them. I think, well, actually, those girls, for whatever reason, were impacted and groomed more successfully than I was.
Yeah.
That's just all it is. That's all it is.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's so difficult as well when you are a particularly teenage girl, like finding your way in the world, and you are sort of faced with being accepted or feeling morally superior. Yeah. I think a lot of it comes down to that. There's actually this girl that I follow on TikTok, and she was saying like, oh, I hate gossip, but like, unless you're my best friend, I will not engage in any kind of gossip. And I just thought it was really interesting because of all the conversations that we have about gossip. Like, we don't really talk about stuff like that I don't think it's something that we've necessarily tried to do.
I don't think me or you are the type, though. Like, for example, sometimes there's been times where you might have said to me, like, "Oh, I read this thing today," or "I've heard this thing today," and I've instantly said to you, "Yeah, but how fucking true is that?" Like, I've literally shut it down instantly. Like, yeah, but like, who fucking posted that, or like, who's even said that? Like, I don't fucking care. And I would much rather sit around a table, you know, like me, you, and a few others, like Charlotte and a few others went out for dinner in London last week, and we spent the entire night talking about systems of power and like politics, history. We spoke about history for hours.
We didn't speak about a single individual person.
No, we didn't. And like,
we don't need
that's where mentally I want to be.
But yeah, no, exactly. That's where I want to be able to almost raise, this is going to sound very hippie, but raise my conscious level. I don't want to talk about individuals. I'm not interested. What is that adding to my life? But then equally, how many people are in, you know, a lesbian relationship, working for themselves, doing feminist work, and surrounded by other radical feminists? Not many at all.
No.
So we are, and that makes us a very, very small minority, and we're in a very privileged position where we can acknowledge when something that occurs is harmful or sort of internalised misogyny, which happens a lot. And I think that to think of recent examples, the amount of internalised misogyny around the Depp and Heard case was incredible.
Yeah.
You know, you had women who, you know, first of all, were sexualising Amber Heard's account of being sexually abused, raped, however you want to describe it based on whatever laws are in your country, whatever. So not only were they sexualising it, they were also making out that she was like a liar, whilst also simultaneously making out that she was a attention seeker. Which one is it? It doesn't matter which one it is, because their goal is to make her look like an idiot. So ultimately, to make her look like a woman idiot, they are the things that they'll use. So the fact that, you know, she is recounting an event of sexual violence where women who, what we would probably describe as like pick-me's, are being like, oh, that's really hot. I get the. I think that is a misogynistic term. I think it's a misogynistic term.
It's never used for men.
No.
Why is pick me used for men?
No, I agree, but I think that we possibly need a new phrase for it. But I definitely think that as a,
well, you know me, I'm anti-label. So like, if I wanted to describe somebody in that way, I would say, you know, they're deliberately almost like, you know, holding an opinion or agreeing with something in order to like protect themselves.
But I think that when there is a significant,
they want to be rewarded for.
But when there's a significant amount, and they're doing it in a specific way, in which males who are watching their videos be like, "Oh my god, I'd fucking love to do that to women," where they're talking about like, essentially raping someone with a bottle. And they're being like,
about the Amber Heards, the fucking sex toys they made.
Well, not just this. Well, they did eventually make sex toys out of it, but before they made the sex toys
as well, didn't they? And was like, oh,
they were sexualizing it. That's so hot. There was women literally being like,
oh, I wish Johnny Depp would do that to me.
Yeah, and so that obviously they're going to have a significant amount of men listening to that, be like, oh my god, I would love to do that to a woman. Look at all these women who are up for it. And they're being like, oh, I'm up for it, I'm up for it, I'm up for it. That's where you get the phrase, like, the pick-me's. Like, oh, please, me, I'll do that. I'm not like other girls, I'll take it rough. Yeah. And I think that's, like, difficult because there's so many issues that I would love to explore with you in this podcast around women's sexuality and actually, you know, what is healthy and consensual in these relationships and any relationships at all. But also, I think what is performative Because I think that that's very, very difficult to find, almost like a line between them.
Yeah.
And I think that the radical feminist approach and the liberal feminist approach, both of them, in general, what we would probably consider, I think are both wrong.
In what way?
I think that the liberal feminist approach would be whatever a woman says
like
she wants.
Choice feminism.
Is her choice, when we know that choice isn't in a vacuum. But equally, the radical feminist approach that sort of purports only safe... I don't mean safe, but, like, only, like... this is difficult to explain. But sort of, I feel like radical feminism supports only... I need to find another phrase, but, like, vanilla sex.
To be honest with you, I find and have found radical feminism to sometimes be almost...
like missionary, and that's it?
No, I would say like airing on all sex is exploitative, all sex is abusive, especially heterosexual sex, that all sex is sexualisation of women. Like, for example, in the radical feminist movement, having been in it for years, where is the conversation and the celebration around women's sexual pleasure?
And
where is that?
Yeah.
It's like, if you talk about that, you can get a lot of
you
radical,
either are told that you're
like,
it's
you're
pornified
or something, and
or
like,
told
what?
that you're like pornifying yourself for simply talking about good sex.
And it's like, I know for a fact, I'm sorry if there's rad femmes listening to this, you are all shagging each other. Like, like, let's get real. You're all fucking each other. Don't tell me that you're not getting off, okay? So if you're gonna fucking come whiter than white, being like, oh, we don't talk about sex because it's pornified, fuck off. I know for a fact that you're shagging. So...
No, I agree.
It's like... I don't know, I feel like me and you've spent a long time in like radical feminist circles and radical feminist like sort of, I don't know, like approaches, and like I get the criticism of lib fem choice feminism. It's not something I'll support because it's not a true choice in a patriarchy, because of the dynamics, so on, so on, so on. But then there's like this leaning towards conservatism in radical feminism, which is like, careful, because you're going to end up with no fucking sexual expression.
Yeah. And I think that female sexuality is so important. Like, you know, it's mainly the lib femmes who talk about the orgasm gap. And, like, so many women never experience a fucking orgasm. And I think that's that's so sad. And we're not going to be able to experience or celebrate female sexuality if we're told that all of it is sexualised and all of it is abusive.
Right, so...
But I think that there is difficulty within that. This is where the sort of internalised misogyny comes from.
Yeah, this is what I was going to say about internalised misogyny, because, like, there's internalised misogyny in feminism, isn't there? And I was going to ask, like, you know, your opinion and our thoughts on, like... Right, hang on a minute, let's just backtrack. Internalised misogyny, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, what the fuck, I've never even thought about this before, and like you're just like babbling, also we've had a drink, like, and like if you're listening to this, I just want to make something clear. Internalised misogyny is the contempt and like hatred and discrimination of women and girls, but that you have internalised it, so that means you do it as well to other women and girls and also to yourself. So that might be like, and this is what I want to get onto in feminism, you being like, oh, why is she wearing that? She looks like a fucking slag. Or like, oh, why is she doing that? She's obviously asking for it. She's attention seeking. Yeah. The only reason she would wear that is because she wants male attention at work. Oh, she probably only got that promotion because she slept her way there. Who did she give a blowjob to get that promotion? Yeah. That's your fucking internalised misogyny. Being fucking mad because a woman is more attractive than you, or you perceive her to be more attractive than you, is your fucking internalised misogyny. Yeah. You being like shitty towards a woman because she wears something that you daren't wear is your fucking internalised misogyny kicking in. So like, you're groomed into that yourself, and then you are subjected to misogyny, but you will also employ it against another woman when you want to and when it suits you.
Yeah.
And that is where, for me, is where I realise that a lot of feminism, like feminist activism, feminist theory, has not done its homework and its self-reflection around its own internalised misogyny.
For me, I think that a lot of red femme theory hits the nail on the head, but then I think that the work has not been done around the positives.
What do you mean?
So, where is the red femme theory around good sex? Where is the red femme theory around the, you know, the benefits of orgasm and masturbation?
Yeah, and that's why it leans into conservatism.
Exactly. And because people try and use arguments around, let's say, choice feminism to argue against, let's say, like, showing yourself off type stuff. So they'll be like, well... Okay, so like where
not even showing yourself off, putting a fucking selfie up.
Well, no, but that's what they would say though. So whereas liberal feminists would argue that a woman in her underwear taking a selfie would say that that's empowering to them.
What lib fem arguments? Yeah. Like, okay.
So like that's empowering, and they feel good about it. Radical feminist argument and theory would suggest that actually what they feel is empowerment isn't true empowerment because it panders to the like male gaze.
Oppression.
Yeah, because they're going to get kudos because of the patriarchy. So women are supposed to be seen, they're supposed to be sexualised, they're supposed to be for men's pleasure. Whereas, so that's like radical feminist theory. Whereas nowadays, because that leans into and almost accidentally, some radical feminists have sort of lent that into conservatism. They've gone, well, okay, yeah, no, I agree with you that they shouldn't be posing like that. They would both have a negative view of that same selfie and be like, yeah, no, I completely agree, and they just want the men's attention, and that's the attention of my husband.
Yeah, I've seen rad femmes like go at, you know, female celebrities like Billie Eilish and like other female celebrities, where it's like, what did she expect was going to happen if she poses in underwear like that? Like, hello, that's victim blaming. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like so you
what
think you're so
to?
smart and so above these so-called lib femmes, these so-called like choice feminists, but you will slip into victim blaming because of your internalised misogyny the fucking second.
But we know that women who are the most conservatively dressed you can imagine are still raped.
Absolutely.
Equally, we also make the argument that it doesn't matter if a woman is walking down the street naked,
she's still got a right to safety, right?
And if somebody rapes her, that's their choice to rape her.
Absolutely, it's their choice, their action. Like, if I seen a naked woman in the street and I'm a lesbian, there is
I would go and find her a blanket.
Yeah, there's not one fucking part of me that would be like, I'm going to go and do this. Like, and that's what I want to do. You would, I mean, in fairness, if that was me, I would look at her and think, oh my God, what's happened?
Yeah.
What, like, is she okay? Is she safe? What do I do? How do I protect her? Is she, like, who is she with? Is she on her own? What's happened? Why is she naked? Like, you know, those are normal ways of thinking. So the fact that technically, like, and theoretically, you could be a woman naked walking on the street, and then somebody could still choose to rape you, a man could still choose to rape you. That means that every other thought that could have gone through his head didn't go through his head. He did not look at you and think, oh my God, is she okay? What's happened to her? Why is she on her own? Why is she naked? Is she safe? Does she need an ambulance? Like, is there anything that's happened? Like, why has she run away from somewhere? He's literally made that choice in that moment and gone, I know what I want, and I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
That's vile.
Yeah.
But then the fact that, like, so-called radical feminists are looking at that same situation and being like, well, you can see why men would. You know what I mean?
Why is she doing? Why is she sexualising?
Yeah, why
herself?
is she doing that unless she wants that kind of attention? Like,
why is she? Why is that? No. That's pornification. And the difference between the lack of understanding between what is pornified and what is natural. So, like, women's natural naked bodies when they are seen as attractive and young with hourglass figures, are told that they're pornified. They are natural bodies that women have.
Yeah, they're not edited. They're not like, it's not like, you know, they've had surgery or they've been photoshopped or whatever it is. But you're right.
The amount of time I've been told that I'm like pornified. Like, it's just
the
my
amount
fucking
of times,
body.
The amount of
but
times
you know
I've
what?
been told I've edited my photos,
but you
and
know
I'm like,
what?
you fucking
right?
what?
When I was a kid, when I had, like, you know, my bra size when I was 13, 12 years old, I was a double D. I was a 28 double D. And I was told that, like, I was like, oh, you just want fucking attention, and, like, you, like, you know, like, the amount of men who would just, like, sexualise me. And now I'm getting the exact same. At 25 years old, because now I've got equally as big boobs and a small waist-ish now. and now I've got, you know, more of an hourglass figure, even, you know, whatever. And it's really that you're told, like, oh, you're sexualizing yourself, it's pornified. Why is it pornified? Because for me, if I saw another woman with my figure posting up on Instagram, I'd be like, yes, girl, you look great. Like, celebrate your body. Women's bodies are beautiful, no matter what form they come in. Whether, you know, whether they have had children, whether they haven't, whether they are slim, whether they're not, whether they're toned, whether they're not, whether they're, you know, whatever. Like, women's bodies are amazing, and we should celebrate all forms of them. But actually, when there is, like, this specific time between sort of late teens, early 20s, there's this assumption that they're pornified. But actually, like, there's stuff within that, you know, men, unfortunately, tend to be told that they are attracted to post-pubescent teenagers. Teenagers, where they are skinny and they've got boobs and a bum.
But they still kind of have a child's body.
Yeah.
And they're still little and
that does not mean that individual child or even young adult is pornified. That means that is their actual natural body.
Doesn't that come back to, like, the original, like what we were saying earlier about structural and systemic arguments in feminism instead of individuals? Because in reality, what you're saying there is that, you know, yes, men may well sexualise, like, for example, pubescent bodies. That's not the fucking girl in puberty's fault, is it?
No, absolutely.
That's a systemic societal problem. Yeah. So, by all means, aim your argument at this structural systemic problem, but don't fucking project your misogyny onto that pubescent girl and be like, yeah, well, you're sexualising yourself. Why did you think men was gonna, you know?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. That's exactly
what
I mean.
Didn't you realise that men was going to pay you this level of attention if you walk around in a crop top when your body looks like that? Bullshit. Like, that's not feminism.
But equally, what happens, like, you know, people listen to your ideas when you look attractive. Men. You know, we know that men rule the world, ultimately. You know, I spent so many years in politics, people sort of listening to me more when I knew that I looked attractive.
Yeah, no, I've got to agree with this, because so in my early 20s, I was like much bigger, sort of like size, sort of like, I mean, like, when I was 18, I was size 22, like a UK 22. And then, like, I dropped weight. By the time I was 25, I was a size 8. I started my PhD. And I can honestly tell you that men fucking listened to everything I said. Like, it was like, I was thin, I was attractive, I was 25, I was doing a PhD. And, like, I was like a fucking, like, I don't know, I was like the fucking oracle. And you know what's been so interesting is that I'm now, like, 32. And I've put loads of weight back on, and, like, I look very different, and I'm aging, and it's definitely changing. Yeah. And I'm not seen as young and attractive anymore, like, which is fine in terms of, like, a sexuality point of view, obviously, because I'm gay and I don't want men to find me attractive. But and, like, obviously I'm married to you, and like, I know that you find me attractive, and, like, all that sort of stuff. So I don't have to worry about that. So it's not that element of it. It's more about, like, you do become very aware of the fact that your worth is based on your attractiveness.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I can definitely tell you that, like, when I give speeches at conferences, I get a different response depending on how much weight I'm carrying at the time. 100%. I can fucking feel it. And I can tell from the way that people respond, how they speak to me, how they speak to me afterwards, depending on how much weight I'm carrying at the time. It's wild. It's you know, and again, and that's from women as well, which is also their misogyny.
But that's, again, though, isn't it, about why our feminism should be based on structures and not individuals. Because women trying to make their way in this absolutely disgusting world, you do what you've got to do. And like, we shouldn't judge other women for doing that, but we do, because of our own insecurities. I really feel like, you know...
But don't you think some, like, internalised misogyny is, like, self-preservation tactics?
I think some of it is self-preservation, you know, but I think, like, some of it is like, jealousy.
I'm not like that, and therefore, like, those things won't happen to me because I don't look like that and I don't behave like that.
Yeah, but I think some of it is self-preservation, but I do think some of it is jealousy. So, for example, self-preservation, you've got, you know, well, I wouldn't be raped because I don't wear stupid short skirts like that. And they're just asking for it. But then equally, you've got, like, well, you know, she's always wanting the boys' attention. All the boys give her attention, so obviously she was going to get raped. And that's the difference between self-preservation and jealousy. And sometimes they can come interlinked.
There's jealousy as well, where, like, jealousy and all where it's like, oh God, this is a whole other podcast. I don't want to get too much into this because I feel like we'd be here forever. I might wrap myself in a blanket though. Jamie's already wrapped herself in like a fleecy, velvety blanket thing.
It's lovely.
Because it's, you know, obviously it's like, what is it, 1:15 in the morning here.
Yeah.
We're working on UK time, so...
So it's like 9:45, 10?
Yeah.
Something like that? Don't know.
Yeah, it is. So, like, we're fucking awake. The world's asleep and we're awake. Recording a podcast. Oh my God, I forgot what I was going to say. What were we talking about? Oh, I mean, obviously internalised misogyny. I was about to say something that I wanted to talk about. What were you talking about a second ago? Please don't say I don't know.
The difference between self-preservation and jealousy.
I was going to talk about jealousy. I think I was going to talk about, you know, I can feel it. It's like in my brain.
Do you want me to do my sound effect of the week?
I got an email about that.
I need to learn that one.
Yeah, you do. One of our followers said that Jaimi needs to learn.
Let me do the new sound effect. Okay, so for the last 6 months, I've been trying to roll my R's, and now I can do the. Oh, that was so bad. So usually I have to have a few goes. Oh wait, no, move it away from me. Are you killing me? You're fucking killing me. Sorry, everyone.
Oh my God, you're so fucking funny.
I can't do it whilst I'm smiling. I need to get under a blanket.
You can't do it under a blanket.
You can't do it if you're laughing. Wait, let me go in.
I'm so sorry, everybody. This was supposed to be an intellectual, informative podcast, but now it's... You fucking slay me. Fucking come back out here now.
I can't do it.
I know. I mean, that much is clear. To be honest with you, these mics are so good. It's probably picked you up in there doing that repeatedly.
And I'll enjoy it. Basically, I can do the okay thing, but like pronounce it with like loads of R's in the end.
She's
but, like,
been practicing.
Smiling,
if that's giving you any insight into what it's been like being me for the last, I don't even know how long, it's been over a month of her doing that. Basically, yeah, doing that. To sometimes she's done that literally every 10 seconds for several hours whilst I've been working, and I've wanted to go and drive into the middle of the countryside and never come back. It's been horrific. They can hear it, don't worry. Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Fucking hell. I don't even remember what we were talking about. I feel bad now.
I was doing the sound effects so that everybody could...
These people that were listening to an in-depth conversation about misogyny have just... they've basically been just railroaded by that stupid noise.
It's not stupid.
No, you're right.
People request sound effects from me all the time.
That's not one of them. I've never known
That's a new
anybody
one.
request that.
Because people didn't realise how good I was at sound effects. I can roll my R's.
Please stop.
I'm really sorry.
No, you're not.
I'm not. I'm quite proud. It took me weeks and weeks to learn how to do that.
Yeah, no, I know, because I fucking was there, and it was fucking painful.
Moving swiftly on. So
yeah, don't mind Jay.
So I feel like, actually, you know, a lot of people say that internalised misogyny is the patriarchy's sort of, it's its biggest...
It props it up. It's like an ally.
Yeah.
Internalised misogyny is like one of its most powerful weapons.
Yeah, most powerful weapons, absolutely. I agree with that. And I think that when, you know, the way that men look after each other when one of them have been accused of sexual violence, women, all they have to do is, like, fucking accidentally say something wrong. No fucker is looking after them.
Yeah, no, there isn't the same solidarity and collectivism between women as there is between men. Which means that obviously, like Jaimi was saying, if shit goes down with men, they will stick together. Like, they will fucking stick together. Women won't fucking do that.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of stuff that's actually internalised misogyny gets purported as, like, concern, when actually it isn't. Like, oh, well, I'm actually very concerned about your tax return. Like, go and have a look at Gary Barlow's tax return and tweet him incessantly, because he don't fucking pay any tax.
Yeah, there's the sort of, like, you know, like the misogyny that, as you say, is pretend concern. It's sort of like, oh, I just think that if you keep wearing that, you know, you're going to give off the wrong signals and people aren't going to take you seriously. And, you know, like, I get it all the time. People say things to me like, I really agree with Jess's arguments, but, like, I just don't understand why, you know, she insists on, you know, putting pictures on her Instagram of her, you know, wearing this or wearing makeup or whatever it is. And I'm just like, really? So you've listened to all my arguments and you've read all my work and you've followed all the stuff that I've done, but your problem is that I wear eyeliner. Like, what the fuck? Like, really?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Or, like, that you've got, like, there's been some feminists who've been like, oh, well, you know, she pretends that she's a feminist, but she's got long hair. Like, fuck off. Like, I feel like I'm doing a lot of growing around feminist theory, and I feel like I have learned a lot about different lesbians, basically, in the last couple of months, and I feel like there are so many different kinds of lesbians, you know, because we're not one fucking monogamous group.
Homogenous.
Monogamous.
Homogenous.
I mean monogamous.
What, is it like just shagging one person?
You're all shagging one person, or shagging, like, one person
so
individually, and that's it.
Forever. Like you mean?
Well, that's what they all pretend that they're doing, but none of them are they?
What about me and you?
Yeah, me and you are.
So we don't count.
But, like, we're the odd ones out.
Yeah, no, that is
Think about
true.
the amount of red femmes who've come on to us.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't talk about that.
We didn't talk about Bruno. Anyway.
About Bruno.
But, you know, there's mask women who have gorgeous long blonde hair. But in radical feminism, if you have long hair, you're not a real lesbian.
Yeah, but that's because they've picked these superficial, ridiculous...
Which is internalised misogyny in itself.
Of course
if we're going to
the hatred of femininity in all its forms. So, like, you could be smart and quick as fuck, powerful, interesting, influential, but if you've got like long hair and makeup, then there's a lot of feminists that are going to just shun you instantly.
Yeah.
Which makes no fucking sense, because if you are able to create change and you stick to your feminist principles, you know, and you protect and support women, who gives a shit what you look like?
They don't like it when people fancy you.
Yeah, unless they fucking fancy you and want to shag you.
Mm.
That's something that, I'm sorry, but like, that is not discussed enough. So I met this guy recently. He's like a gay dude, and he's like head of, I can't really explain exactly what he is because it would give away who he was, but he's like head of like lesbian and gay services in a particular, let's say, service or whatever. And he was saying to me that so as a gay guy, he was growing up, he was saying that he wished that people talked more about how predatory some gay guys actually are in the gay scene. And he was saying that as part of gay activism, as a gay man, he was very much expected to like shag everybody as a young gay guy. And he said that like nobody gave him any warning, nobody protected him from that. And I was listening to him, and do you know what? The way he fucking described that was so fucking similar to feminism, especially radical feminism. And I said to him, do you know something? Like, every fucker I knew in radical feminism was shagging each other, or had shagged each other, or was lying about each other, or was each other's exes, or were having an affair with each other. And he was like, oh my god, I didn't know it was like that in lesbian circles. I thought it was just gay men. I was like,
no, it definitely is. And I don't know if this is something that's just like radical feminist circles, but I feel like I feel like a lot of rad femmes have come on to me, and then I have politely rejected, and then they have turned on us.
Well, yeah.
And they like, there'll be people listening, and they fucking know who they are.
Yeah, because weirdly they still listen and watch everything we do.
But then they'll be like, oh, we're just listening out of concern because we're concerned. No, you're not concerned. It's internalized misogyny.
Yes. And stalking. But like, no, I agree. But like, when I had that conversation with that dude, he made me almost, it validated a lot of stuff, because he didn't know anything about us. He'd never met us, and he never met me, never met you.
Yeah.
And we actually met through something totally different, completely different projects, and we had no knowledge of each other. I'd never even heard of him, he'd never heard of me. And it was just so interesting that we ended up just talking around gay and lesbian like activism and services and stuff like that. And I just couldn't believe how similar the way he described that was. Like, it was so fucking similar. He could have literally, like, he could be me describing lesbian.
It's sort of similar to something that I said on a previous podcast, where I said, if we were to create a society just of females, would gender just recreate itself?
For sure, 100%.
And I think it's just the same as that, really. I think that it would. I think that it already is.
No, I think that. Do you remember when I was in a wardrobe, getting ready in our like walk-in wardrobe, and you came into me and said that, and I was like, I stopped what I was doing and like thought about it, and I was like, fuck.
Well, you know,
that's so fucking right.
But like, already in radical feminism, you have the women at the top, the lesbians at the top are
mainly butch mass
women. And I think that, you know, you can talk all you want about ending gender, but like, you're not actually talking about ending gender. But also, one of the other things I want to talk about is that the ownership of femme women.
Before you get into that, that's because it's linked to it.
It is.
What you're talking about is the reason that the gender hierarchy replicates itself in feminism is because ultimately, whether you like it or not, and even if you consider yourself radical feminist, the butch mask presenting women are still seen as more than, or better than, or more important than, or in some way more feminist, morally superior than the feminine women, or femme presenting women, or femme lesbians, or even just like other lesbians. So like, if you're like, you know, deliberately mask presenting short hair, so on, so on, so on, whatever, you're seen as, like, for some reason, like, better and, like, a better lesbian and a better feminist, but that just, as Jaimi said, it replicates the hierarchy and the patriarchy that already exists, because in a patriarchy, men and masculinity is prized above women and femininity, and then in feminism you see the exact same pattern, which is what Jaimi suggested and fascinated me from the moment that you said it. But it results in the hatred of feminine women, femininity, and then it means that if you're a feminist, they don't take you seriously if you are, like, femme presenting in any way, because you're just not good enough, and you never will be good enough, and they'll mock you, ridicule you, minimise you, and then, as we just said, objectify you, sexualise you, and fuck you. A lot of these fucking butch and mask women are fucking femmes.
Yeah, they
and
are.
they're saying shit, not saying shit, and they won't fucking come to the rescue of femmes. They won't fucking back up feminine women. They won't protect feminine women. They'll fucking shag them, though.
Yeah. But I think it's such a weird microcosm of radical feminism, because that, since I've started to branch out, like, I've started making friends and connecting with all sorts of different lesbians who are, like, mask presenting with long hair and, like, you know, and all stuff like that.
Do you not ever think, even as that came out of your mouth, what a fucking ridiculous conversation?
This is a ridiculous conversation.
Do you know
and
what
I feel
mean?
like people who aren't, people
she's
who
a
listen
mask
to
with
our
long hair, who gives a shit?
I know, I just feel like who gives a fuck, whatever. Like, it's just fucking women who fancy women, and it's just individual. Like, I don't know.
I couldn't give a shit what she looks like.
Yeah,
know what I
like
mean?
it's I don't know.
care.
Maybe we should do a whole other section on like, I don't know,
Probably.
lesbianism. But I feel
I
like
couldn't give a shit if me and you, like, today, or tomorrow, because it's like 1:30 in the morning. Like, if we, like, woke up tomorrow, walked out of this room, and met literally the most feminine lesbians that we've ever met. If they're lesbians, they're lesbians. If they're sexually attracted to women, they're lesbians.
Yeah.
Well, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I couldn't give a shit what they look like. I
Yeah.
couldn't give a shit if they were fucking mask as fuck, buzz cut, fucking, I don't know, wearing, like, masculine clothing, whatever. I don't give a shit. They're women who are attracted to women, and they present however they feel comfortable. Like, I don't give a shit. I'm not gonna fucking look down on or, like, stand on super femme women. I don't.
But I said to you, didn't I, the other day, that we'd gone out for dinner, and I noticed that there was a few different men who were staring at me and, like, looking at me, and I was thinking, oh my god, why have I had my eyelashes done? Why am I wearing this top without a bra? And, you know, like, I obviously, like, I should have known that I was going to get looked at. I should have known I was going to get male attention, blah, blah, blah. And I was thinking, oh my god, like, this was so stupid of me. I'm not going to get my eyelashes done again, because I just look like I'm straight. And you can see why so many lesbians purposely, and, you know, I've had this, you know, a lot of lesbians have told this to me, where they've said, I purposely try and make myself as unattractive as possible to men, so that I don't have to deal with them. And it's so sad, because, like, there is that argument, but then it goes further into when lesbians do sort of make an effort to be attractive, they're sort of told, like, well, then you're asking for it. But actually, that's so hard as well, because I'm attracted to femmes. I'm a femme, and I'm attracted to femmes. I can't do anything about that. I don't want to do anything about that. I'm attracted to feminine energy. And I think that in radical feminism, we really are trying to stamp out feminine, like actual feminism. So, like, caring, attractive, beautiful, you know, those sorts of energies, those sorts of outlooks, because we are seeing them
as weakness.
as weaknesses.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's really difficult, because actually they shouldn't be seen as weaknesses.
But that's the internalised misogyny.
Exactly.
They're seen as weaknesses and flaws, and they're seen as, like, chinks in the armour, because of internalised misogyny. Because misogyny hates femininity and the female form. So anything that represents that will then be held in contempt, or will be hated, or will be ridiculed or mocked.
Which is why when males are
show femininity, or
are gay,
as effeminate
or gay,
yes,
then they.
Which is why the majority of homophobia actually comes from misogyny.
Absolutely.
As opposed to just like hatred of gay men, it's actually the link to femininity, or the perceived link to femininity.
The same as transphobia.
Yeah, it is.
And it's 100%. All interlinked, and that's why I really feel like the binary of gender, because like as much as you can argue that gender isn't a binary, objectively, if we were to look through history and what we understand as masculine versus feminine, because that's what it is, you can say there's non-binary, but ultimately every single thing is viewed as masculine or feminine, sorry, is a binary, and that's why masculine things are deemed more
better,
socially acceptable,
stronger, powerful, correct, intelligent, accurate, respected, versus femininity seen as weak, stupid, emotional.
The fact that emotional is viewed as
sexual,
is viewed as like negative,
inferior, negative. Yeah, for sure. That's misogyny. It's been really interesting talking about this, actually.
I feel like we could talk about this for ages. Yeah, we could talk about this for so long, but I hope that we have conveyed some of our feelings towards internalized misogyny. We could go on this for ages. We could probably write a whole 10-page essay blog about this.
Minimum. You write
minimum.
A book?
Yeah, you could. Yeah. Oh, God, yes. But our personal.
Oh, there's so much. I feel like there's so much to say. But I mean, maybe whilst we're out here, we could record a few more sessions. And publish them. I don't know. Let's see. I mean, frankly, and to be honest with you all, if this fucking records without being corrupted, I will be fucking over the moon. Because me and Jay have recorded several different sessions. They've all been corrupted as we've put them up.
Yeah, it's been hard.
Yeah, I mean, they've not gone up, and it's been wank, and we've been like, because you can't redo a conversation that like is this. Totally unscripted.
Yeah, and it's like very verbatim, isn't it? The way that we do our
everything is like unscripted. It's totally ad-libbed. It's like it's a conversation between me and you. Like you can't. It's not like if this episode corrupts, we couldn't be like, we'll just start again, because fuck knows I won't remember anything we said. I'd have to start again. Like any other conversation. But anyway, here's fingers crossed that that it all works out, and it'd be nice. Yeah, it's nice to come back to doing this with you. Actually,
thank you. Yeah, thank you to all of our listeners. I think how many thousands have we got now?
Like 100,000.
100,000. Thank you. Oh my God, that's insane. That's insane.
100,000 downloads is just wild.
Thank you.
I don't know what you're all doing, frankly. You've not got lives.
It means a lot to me. It means a lot.
It means a lot to Jamie.
Not to Jess.
I'm playing. I just didn't think it would ever...
We just started it as for fun.
For fun, yeah. I think I would have just been like, oh, wow, guess what? 50 people listened. You know what I mean? 100,000 somewhere else.
Because for us, it makes no difference whether we're recording, because it's just us on our phone.
It's just me and you, yeah.
And our phone.
Yeah, exactly.
So, it could be to 100,000 people. It could be to 5 people.
I'm trying to think of all the different countries we've recorded this in. I bet it's at least 5 now.
Who knows? Let's do a cheers.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Tiny bit of my cocktail left anyway.
Please share it and please recommend it to your friends. We would love to get to more hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, everybody wants to listen to us off-cut talking about feminism. And if not, why not?
It's authentic.
Cheers.